We all know the dream: a cursed spindle, 100 years of sleep, and a true love's kiss. But the reality of what happens while the princess sleeps is a medieval nightmare of assault, cannibalism, and a literal graveyard of failed heroes. Look at this breakdown of the 1959 Disney film. Despite being the title character, Princess Aurora has only 18 lines of dialogue in the entire script. She is on screen for less than 20 minutes. Her movements are literally recycled from other movies. The studio repurposed a discarded dance sequence from Cinderella to create her final waltz in the clouds. The three fairies, Flora, Fauna, and Merryweather, are the actual protagonists. They drive the plot, hide the princess, and eventually arm the prince with the Sword of Truth to finish the fight. To make these fairies feel active and alive, animators based their movements on women observed at local grocery stores, capturing how they carried their weight. This grounded realism highlights Aurora's rigid design. Compared to the fairies, she has the aesthetic of a Barbie doll, an object to be acted upon rather than a character with agency. Aurora's silence is a sanitized inheritance from a 400-year-old horror story about the total loss of bodily autonomy. This is Jean-Baptiste Basile, the man who recorded the story's origin in 1634. In his version, Sun, Moon, and Talia, the concept of a true love's kiss does not exist. When a hunting king discovers the comatose Talia in an abandoned palace, he doesn't seek help. He assaults her while she is in a comatose state, and simply returns to his own kingdom and his wife. Talia remains unconscious for 9 months. She gives birth to twins, Sun and Moon, all while still in a state of total physical passivity. She only wakes because a hungry infant accidentally sucks the poison flax splinter from her finger. Her happily ever after involves the king returning to burn his first wife at the stake after she tries to feed the twins to the king in a cannibalistic feast. The medieval reality of the story was a study in absolute vulnerability, where the princess has no memory of her own life's most significant events. By 1697, Charles Perrault adjusted the story for French aristocrats. He removed the assault, but introduced a new threat from within the royal family. Perrault's prince has a mother who is an ogress with a literal taste for human flesh. She prepares a pit of vipers to consume her own grandchildren while her son is away at war. In 1812, the brothers Grimm shifted the danger from the family to the environment itself. The enchanted thorn hedge in the Grimm version is a living graveyard. For a century, young men who tried to reach the princess were caught in the branches and suffered a lingering death. The prince who finally succeeds isn't a hero who conquered the forest. He simply arrived when the 100-year timer expired. The thorns turned into flowers and parted for him because the time was up. Across every version, whether facing an ogress or an automated forest, the princess remains a passive pawn at the mercy of enchantment. This chart shows the systematic sanitization of the narrative. Over 3 centuries, cannibalism, assault, and lethal traps were stripped away to create a family-friendly aesthetic. In the rush to finish the 1959 film, Walt Disney Studio preserved the story's most horrific element, a protagonist who makes no choices. From the jealous queen to the ogress and Maleficent, the villains represent the external world acting upon a subject who cannot speak or defend herself. The myth taps into a primal, universal fear that we might lose control over our own lives while we are most vulnerable. The lasting terror of Sleeping Beauty is the realization that we are not always the captains of our own destiny.